Verse 229. The inner realization attained by the wise always abides in a state of no memory. It leads the world to the truth as it is not confused with speculative reasoning. The last few verses have been concerned with speculative reasoning. In Buddhism, a particular understanding is often communicated, but that understanding is commonly expressed in the form of speculative reasoning, and even that must be rejected. And one personal form of speculative reasoning that I've had to reject is that of mathematics, of science. The general prejudice in modern times to assume that science is correct, science is the way to truth. But science and mathematics are still very much of the mind. They very much come under the category of speculative reasoning. But the truth is removed from speculative reasoning. So, as much as we're not happy about it, we have to accept this. Now, let's be quite clear. I'm not rubbishing science or maths or speculative reasoning. This is from the context of enlightenment practice. This is from the context of being established in how things actually are. And how things actually are not an idea. They're not a concept. They're not an accurate model. We're told here that the inner realization attained by the wise, this is the enlightenment practitioner, is a state of no memory. And this is the first time we've come across this term, no memory, and it's a very powerful one. What does it mean to be abiding in a state of no memory? Well, for a start, it means a state of no history. It's a state of ultimate freshness. Which means we remove a very fundamental assumption. It's so fundamental we probably don't even know we assume it. And it's the assumption that this has always been here. Or not even that this has always been here, that this, all of this, has a history. We assume the world has a history. We assume that we have a history. You've probably never articulated this to yourself or verbalized it, but it's a fundamental component of how we relate to the world. It's a fundamental component of our essential tone, our existential tone. Now, what's the solution to this? We've often been told the solution, and the solution is to realize that anything to the contrary is of the nature of dream. In a dream, there are objects and people with apparent histories, but when we realize the true nature of dream, we realize there's no history there whatsoever. and all the apparent memories in a dream are actually no memory. So this is it. It's coming back to the stark realization that all apparent history is part of the dream of consciousness. So the state of no memory here isn't some blank slate experience, some kind of tabula rasa experience. It's a state of awakening. There's another way that this term can be understood and applied, this term of no memory. Memory also relates to our mood patterns. I explored this in the series of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Memory is also the pattern of our moods. We reinforce our habitual moods from moment to moment, and our moods colour our response to things. These are our samskaras, one of the 5 skandhas. We colour our moods. So no memory is also no mood. We are no longer looking at things through the filter of a particular mood. And this is good because very often as enlightenment practitioners, when we're coming back to pure awareness, it's often somewhat incomplete. There's normally a particular tone there, and it's the tone of our fundamental mood. I think in my case it might be described as some kind of hapless impotence. I would say this is my fundamental tone in some ways, one of hapless impotence. But it's very good that I can see this. This tone of hapless impotence is my response to a conceptual understanding of the teachings. Some people often find the conceptual expression of the teachings to be a little bit nihilistic, depressing even. So this is the kind of thing we're looking beyond. We're looking beyond this. We're looking beyond our fundamental tone. And this is where the mythology of the Buddhas can come in useful. We can then counteract any negative tone which is still there. We can remember the possibility of enlightenment. So here we're actually using memory to shift that last tone, to shift those last remnants of limiting mood patterns. So we can use memory now to abide in a state of no memory. So we remember enlightenment, we remember the Buddhas. We tune into this so that we can bypass our fundamental tone. So we're using memory here to abide in a state of no memory. And at this point, we are no longer confused with speculative reasoning. Verse 230 tells us, when all false speculation subsides, error no more rises. As long as there is discriminative knowledge, error keeps on rising. The point to be careful with here is that all speculation from the point of view of enlightenment practice is false speculation. So this term false speculation is not discriminating between false speculation and true speculation. All speculation is false. It's based on discriminative knowledge, which means thinking about things, weighing things up. We come back to awareness. Awareness which realizes that this is all there is. This is what creates all history. This is what creates all memory. And it does it in this very moment.